Hello, everyone. We'll discuss Canada's economic situation today. You know the Canadian economy has been struggling. Inflation, interest rates, and housing expenses are issues. Some experts foresee a 2023 Canadian recession due to these issues. This film examines Canada's economic dilemma. We'll address the crisis's causes and its probable effects on firms, workers, and consumers. We'll also discuss the government's crisis response. Stay for more on the Canadian economy crisis. I'll tell you something crucial. High inflation measures price increases over time. Inflation raises prices. This strains household budgets and makes business planning tough. Recent Canadian inflation has increased. In February 2023, inflation reached 8.1%, a 30-year high. Food, gas, and housing expenses are rising rapidly. Canada's high inflation? Why? Canada has significant inflation for many reasons. These are: COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has disrupted supply networks and produced shortages, raising prices. The Ukraine war. Rising energy prices have contributed to inflation. Government spending to help the economy during the pandemic has raised prices. High inflation affects Canadians? High inflation hurts Canadians. It's making food and petrol more expensive for many. It's also making future business planning harder. High inflation affects Canadians in these ways. Price hikes. Groceries, petrol, and lodging cost more. This is straining household budgets and making life harder. Lower purchasing power. As money loses value, individuals buy less. This hits retirees most. More uncertainty. High inflation is unsettling businesses and consumers. This hinders planning and may limit economic progress. The Bank of Canada is fighting inflation. They hiked interest rates many times to chill the economy and manage inflation. Interest rate hikes can take time to affect inflation. The administration is also addressing increasing inflation. They announced tax breaks and infrastructure spending. However, these measures' efficacy is unknown. High inflation is harming Canadians. Stay educated and protect your finances. Discuss money management with your financial advisor if high inflation worries you. Interest rates are the cost of borrowing. Interest rates increase borrowing costs, which can hurt the economy. Lately, Canadian interest rates have risen. The Bank of Canada raised its benchmark interest rate 0.50% to 1.00% in March 2023. This is the highest benchmark rate since 2007. Why is interest rising? The Bank of Canada is boosting interest rates to calm the economy and contain inflation. Canada's 30-year high inflation worries the Bank of Canada. Raising interest rates raises company borrowing costs, slowing economic development. It also raises consumer borrowing costs, reducing consumption. Canadians' reaction to rising interest rates? Canadians are affected by rising interest rates. It's making mortgage and debt payments harder for some. Saving money is harder too. Rising interest rates have unique effects on Canadians. Variable rate mortgage payments are rising as interest rates climb. This may affect household budgets. Credit card and car loan installments are also rising. Making ends meet may be harder. Higher interest rates lower savings. This devalues savings accounts. How to handle rising interest rates? There are ways to combat rising interest rates. Spend less. This reduces debt and saves money. Refinance your mortgage or other loans. This could cut your interest rate, saving you money over time. Finally, discuss rising interest rates with your financial counselor. Canadians are seriously affected by rising interest rates. Stay educated and protect your finances. Discuss money management with your financial counselor if rising interest rates worry you. Canadian property prices have been rising for years. Reasons include: low interest. Low interest rates make house loans cheaper. Strong demand. As Canada's population grows, more people are buying homes. Canada's housing shortage has driven up costs. Rising housing costs affect Canadians. Rising housing costs are hurting Canadians. It's making home buying harder for many. Rents are rising, making it harder to rent. Rising housing costs have unique effects on Canadians. Homeownership becomes unattainable. The average Canadian home costs over $700,000. Young folks and low-income people cannot afford this. Canadian rents are rising. In big cities, this makes renting harder. Homelessness. Canada's housing costs are rising. More people are homeless. How to lower home costs? There are several ways to lower housing costs. Build more houses. This would boost housing supply and lower prices. Another is to restrict foreign homebuyers in Canada. This would keep homes for needy Canadians. Finally, the government might offer tax benefits to homebuyers. Homeownership would be cheaper. The Ukraine war and COVID-19 epidemic are threatening the world economy. Businesses and investors are hesitant, which could hamper Canadian economic growth. Energy prices have risen due to the Ukraine war, pushing up Canadian inflation. The pandemic may flare up again, disrupting the economy. Canada's economy is unclear. Strong job growth could prevent a recession, but there are other concerns. The economy's future is uncertain.